So I recently reread a manga that I've been a fan of for a while now, and I finally decided to make a video on it because this story truly is incredible and definitely one of my favorites. The manga that I'll be talking about in this video is Vagabond, and it's often referred to as one of the greatest seinen manga alongside amazing stories such as Berserk, and it definitely deserves that title. Vagabond is incredible, and it gave me such a new and fresh experience within a manga that I honestly loved. The way it immersed me into the story with its compelling characters and philosophical aspects was something very few manga could pull off for me. If you haven't heard of Vagabond yet, it's essentially a samurai manga that follows the path of a ronin named Miyamoto Musashi who attempts to understand the meaning of true strength and what it means to be the strongest. Throughout this journey that the main character takes, we see him develop from a promising swordsman who is very unpolished and naive to an incredibly powerful and respected individual that is constantly improving his craft and his understanding of strength. Inoue, who is the creator of Vagabond, does an amazing job in introducing Musashi, with him overpowering every opponent he comes against, from bandits to even generals in war. This made Musashi's path with him going against incredibly powerful people that are famous for their skill very impactful, as the strength of our protagonist was substantially weaker. This was clearly shown in Musashi's first introduction to the Yoshioka and Hozoin school that portrayed the lengths Musashi must reach in order to become the strongest. These encounters very much humbled Musashi, and this was emphasized even more through people Musashi met that were masters of their craft and classed as invincible and unrivaled. These individuals in particular are constantly referenced in the manga, while Musashi is attempting to understand them in order to reach the position that they are in. This is not only the case for the skill they have with their weapon, but their mindset as well, and this is further explained as Musashi's journey and character develops. Due to the nature of Vagabond's story and the journey our main character takes, we get a very unique experience that is not often seen with the protagonist of a manga. Musashi's main goal within the story is to understand what it truly means to be invincible and unrivaled, and through this the protagonist learns from others and slowly gets closer to the answer he is looking for. At the beginning of the manga, the mountains was the only teacher to Musashi, and as the story continued, he encountered a variety of people that all taught Musashi different things, which brought him closer to his goal that he set out to achieve. Musashi's way of understanding strength was through the way of the sword and the lengths he could reach with it. However, as strength in Vagabond is not straightforward and incredibly hard to grasp, Musashi learns through other ways as his path continues. The characters in Vagabond and the world that Inoue built within the manga is one of the main aspects of Vagabond that pulled me into the story. Every character that is introduced has a different perspective and view on the way of the sword and the world around them. Almost all the characters that Musashi comes against directly challenges his ideals and the path he takes. From the start of the manga, we see this with characters such as Takuan, who challenges Musashi's current path and attitude towards life, and as the story progresses, we see this through characters like Yagyu that completely change Musashi's understanding of what it means to be invincible. Just like the protagonist, all the other characters are developed incredibly well and all tackle different themes and tropes within the story. This is the case with characters that Musashi fights, such as the Yoshioka samurai, and even characters such as Musashi's childhood friend Matahachi, who constantly deals with failure from almost every action we see him do. With characters like Matahachi, who is always making the wrong decisions within his path and is filled with regret, my first impressions of him was kinda negative. However, as the story progressed, I grown to love his character. The contrast between him and Musashi, with one succeeding at every turn and developing a name for himself, which was a goal they both had from a young age, and the other who was always making wrong and regretful decisions, was a super interesting theme within the story. The notion that Vagabond is portraying with all the characters, specifically with Musashi and Matahachi, is the improvement of oneself. This can be through their mindset, and we see this from Musashi at the beginning of the manga, or even one's physical self like an individual skill with the sword. Throughout the story, we are shown left, right and center incredible swordsmen and individuals that, just like Musashi, are improving themselves and developing mentally and physically. This is what made Matahachi's character really appealing and important to the story, as not everyone succeeds in becoming a well-known, respected person that has titles such as invincible or unrivaled, as this is the reality of the world. With every encounter Matahachi has with Musashi in the story, Musashi is always shown to be the idealistic version that Matahachi wants to be, and the differences between themselves is constantly shown. This contrast between the two characters and the way the theme of failure is portrayed with Matahachi made me really like his character within the story. As we see from characters like Matahachi, Vagabond has such a wide range of interesting and unique characters. However, there's a particular character that took the Vagabond story to a whole nother level, and that is Sasaki Kojiro. With the character Sasaki Kojiro, the story takes a massive turn where they show an individual's upbringing and journey to master the way of the sword through a completely different perspective. He is a character that is shown to be completely devoted and almost made for the way of the sword due to his incredible skill and difference he has between himself and the opponents he comes against. This relates to what we see with Musashi, and both these characters have quite a few similarities, however they are portrayed very differently. At the start of Musashi's journey, he is portrayed to be this bloodthirsty monster that people fear. However, with Sasaki Kojiro, the story takes a different approach as he appears to be an innocent person who should not be involved with the sword. From what the journey of Kojiro portrayed and how he relates to the main character, he is definitely built up to be Musashi's rival and equal within the manga. Kojiro completely changed the story of Vagabond with his journey and skill with the sword. His detached persona and influence within the manga made his character super appealing, and his entire arc completely revamped what Vagabond previously was. Vagabond is an incredibly exciting read, and every battle within the manga portrays this life or death atmosphere that completely immerses you into the moment and what's at stake with the characters. This is an aspect of Vagabond that makes the story great. However, the true beauty of Vagabond that makes the manga stand out for me is the philosophy. Why was I born? Why did I survive that last battle? What does it mean to be invincible? Every character within the manga, specifically the protagonist Musashi, questions the reality of the path they take and the meaning behind the decisions they make. The way the characters interpret the part of themselves that they question and how they overcome it makes the cast even more interesting and portrays a lot about their mentality. The way the protagonist grows within the manga is not just about how he can improve the skill he has with the sword, but how he can overcome the concepts that he once misunderstood. This way of developing a character and portraying them at a deeper level really appealed to me and made me appreciate the story even more. Another aspect of the story that is insanely well done is the art within the manga. The art within Vagabond is almost too good, as the characters at certain points look extremely realistic and detailed. I like how the art style manages to depict all the emotions that the characters are feeling, such as anger, fear and excitement, as it improves on the already exciting moment. The clean and detailed art style with the characters' movements suits the nature of Vagabond so well, and only a few series come to mind that rival the manga's art for me. If you haven't gotten into Vagabond yet, I hope this video made you consider reading the manga. The themes and tropes that the manga showcases and the cast of characters is incredibly well done, and the story truly does give an amazing experience for the reader. If you enjoyed today's video on Vagabond, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more anime and manga content. Stay tuned for my next upload, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.